So let's dive into this really powerful story. It's all about two completely different ways of seeing the world. And, maybe, how we see ourselves. And it all kicks off with a man who was convinced his greatest strength was his sharp, critical eye.
You see, this was the whole deal for a certain seeker of knowledge. He trained himself to spot every single flaw. Where other people might see a lively, bustling market, he would just see the greed and the envy. And he truly believed this made him strong, that there was a kind of nobility in facing up to all the ugly truths.
But here's the catch, right? That perspective, it had a consequence. Sure, his sight was incredibly sharp, but his heart kind of grew cold. His insights were brilliant for taking the world's problems apart, but they couldn't put anything back together. All that clarity just left him isolated.
And this is the challenge that's put to him by a figure known as the Nazarene. This one sentence really gets to the core of it all. What is the point of seeing? Is it really just about identifying what's broken, or is there something more to it?
This really sets up the core dilemma for all of us. We live in a world that's far from perfect. So how are we supposed to respond to that? Turns out there are two pretty profound paths we can explore.
All right, so let's check out the first approach. This philosophy doesn't try to hide from all that ugliness the seeker was so focused on. In fact, it does the opposite. It leans right in. It argues that true strength is found by looking at all of life, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the awful, and saying yes to the whole package.
And this idea of embracing absolutely everything has a really powerful champion in the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He was recovering from a pretty severe illness, and he developed this concept for not just putting up with life's hardships, but actually embracing them as essential parts of a beautiful whole. He called it amor fati. Now, this is not a passive it is what it is kind of thing. No, it's an active, passionate love of your fate. It's the desire that nothing at all be different, not the pain, not the struggle, because every single piece contributes to who you are.
So how do you do it? Well, Nietzsche kind of breaks it down. First, you have to face reality head-on, no filters, just like our seeker. But then, and this is the key, you take a second step. You look at your life with all its flaws like it's a great work of art. And the final step, you affirm all of it completely. You want every single moment to happen again exactly as it was forever.
So, what's crucial here is that Nietzsche's amor fati takes the seeker's sharp sight and just elevates it. It transforms that cold, critical gaze into this powerful, life-affirming philosophy. It's the courage not just to see the ugliness, but to actually love it as a necessary part of the masterpiece that is your life. But is that the only answer?
Well, the Nazarene offers a different path entirely. This perspective suggests that maybe the most important question isn't what we see, but why we're looking in the first place. It's not about trying to climb above the world, but about digging deeper within it.
And this chart shows the difference so clearly. You've got the path of pride, climbing the mountain, which is all about getting a better view to look down on everyone else. But what happens? You end up isolated and constantly afraid of falling. Then you have the path of humility, going down into the well. It's about going inward. Yeah, it might seem darker at first, but that's where you find a deep source of connection and real freedom.
And that right there is the fundamental shift in perspective. Wisdom isn't some peak you conquer just to prove you're better than everyone. It's more like a wellspring you discover by having the courage to explore your own depths, to find that living water of compassion that's way down beneath the surface.
The parable of the empty vessel makes this even clearer. You've got one potter who fills his beautiful pot with expensive oil and puts it high on a shelf to show off. It's a performance, and it serves nobody. Then you have the other potter who just leaves his plain pots empty, open to the rain. That way, he always has fresh water to give a thirsty traveler. You see? True virtue isn't being full of pride, it's being empty and open, ready to receive and to give.
So this leads us to another big idea. What does it really mean to be noble? Is it something you're born with, something you can buy, or something else entirely? Well, the parables talk about two cities. One prides itself on nobility passed down through bloodlines, but it's become like a barren branch, just clinging to a dead past. The other city tries to buy nobility with wealth, basically decorating its own emptiness with jewels. Neither one works. The only true nobility is the kind that's cultivated from within, from the heart and soul. It's a living root.
I mean, that metaphor is just so powerful. Your real worth isn't about your family tree or the stuff you own. It's all about the health of your inner world. Are you tending to the roots of compassion, humility, and generosity in your own soul? Because that's where real nobility grows.
And all of this brings us full circle, right back to the two ways of seeing that we started with. We basically have two models for how to engage with a world that is both flawed and beautiful.
So on one hand, you've got the judge. That's the seeker's original sight. It's sharp, it's got a cold clarity, and it is excellent at identifying the sickness, at finding every last weed in the garden. But on the other hand, you've got the farmer. This sight looks at the exact same broken world, but sees potential. It gives off a warm light, and its purpose isn't just to diagnose, but to actually nurture things back to health.
This quote just perfectly captures the Nazarene's whole point. It's not about being blind to the problems. Of course the weeds in the garden are real. But the purpose of seeing them is to find and nurture that little spark of life, that struggling flower that's just longing to break through.
So after looking at these two really powerful philosophies, it seems to all come down to one single fundamental choice that each of us has to make.
So, will you train your eye to be the ultimate judge, finding strength in seeing every flaw and affirming it all as fate? Or will you train your heart to be the patient farmer, finding purpose in nurturing the hidden potential for life, even in the most broken ground? The choice really is yours.